Ball alongside manager of the Wall to Wall Sweets, Colby Watilo, for another edition of
Countdown with Colby.
Coach, yesterday's game happened, but today it's a new moment, and it's a big one as well. Tiebreaker on the line, essentially 2 games almost. The second tiebreaker, of course, against the Portland Pickles, the first half winner. It's a really weird scenario, but if the Sweets win tonight, barring a Berry sweep against the Pickles at the end of August, you would have the tiebreaker. Does that kind of go into play, meaning anything more that this is essentially 2 games?
Yeah, no, I think that's huge. I mean, we talked about having the tiebreaker and how important that is to have as many safety nets as you can have going through the rest of the season. So yeah, it's a big one for us, just in as a team and as a group of guys. It's a huge one in the tiebreaker scene, and obviously a big one for the fans here at home before we head out on a long road trip. And with only 3 more games after tonight left to play here at home.
Nicholson was the expected starter in yesterday's ball game. Now he's out on the hill today. Was there some sort of strategic talk behind that or something else we don't know about?
No. Sorry, it's messed up. Nicholson was not the expected.
Oh, really?
No, yeah. It was we're going off the right script.
Huh? Shoot, don't mess up again.
It was Anderson, Reimers, Nicholson.
Oh, I just messed up. My bad. Sounds good. We're going to restart that. I'm sorry.
You did? Sorry, I just didn't. I didn't know what to say. So I was.
If it's wrong, shoot. All right.
There you go.
3, 2, 1. Ball alongside manager of the Wall to Wall Sweets, Colby Watilo, for another edition of
Countdown with Colby.
Coach, yesterday happened. Time to flush it. A big one today. Tiebreaker on the line. If the Sweets win today's ball game, the overall series would be tied at 3 games apiece because of a tiebreaker over the Portland Pickles. Barring a Berry sweep over the Pickles at the end of August, you get the tiebreaker. How does that feel?
Yeah, I think that's huge. Obviously, we talked about the importance of having as many things in our corner, as many things to fall back on coming down the stretch, and so trying to put ourselves in the best position as we can going into the hopefully making a playoff run here. And so having the tiebreaker over them is big. Big to get the win today for our group to kind of get things righted before we head off on a long road trip, and huge for the fans here at Borlesti. Only 4 games left here at home, and the last 3 not come until the very end. So, hopefully able to put something together today.
I can count on one hand how many blowouts there's been this season. Unfortunately, it just happened the last 2 games for the Sweets at an inopportune time, to say the least. However, a week ago, you took 2 of 3 against the Marion Berries. Very similar rosters, lineups, even the starters are very similar. Does that go into the ideology? Like, look, guys, we didn't just beat them. We beat them a week ago.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been long at all since we had some good success against the Berries, on the road, which adds a whole nother layer to it. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely in our minds. I think it should hopefully give some confidence. And, I think we said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I don't think the team that has the way we've played the last 2 nights has been indicative of what this team is capable of. And so hoping for tomorrow or for tonight to come out and finish things off. And then tomorrow going to the off day, kind of reset and then get ready to go on the road.
Nicholson out on the hill. Are you ready for him to get going?
Yeah, it'll be great to see him out there. Obviously a new situation for him making a start for us. Something that as similar with other guys that we've ran out there in the summer, it's a more familiar maybe role that he's pitched in throughout his career in high school of mainly starting games. And so we asked him to come out of the pen a couple of times. He's had some really good results and some early struggles at the same time as well. And I think that's part of the learning experience, right? When you've got a young guy out there on the mound. And so excited for him to get the ball to try to set a tone for us. He's a guy that pitches with a lot of energy, and so he's a guy that the guys get excited to have out there to try to play behind, and so it'll be great to have him out there.
Yeah, that's part of baseball, the early struggles as well as working some things, but we've seen a lot of positive from Nicholson as well. I look back the last few games from an outside perspective looking in, the home run ball has been the difference in a lot of these, even looking back to Game 3 against the Elks, a couple of home runs from the Sniffin kid, and then 2 days ago, then yesterday's ball game as well in that very first inning. Yep. How do you limit the long ball and kind of flip the script as far as that goes?
Our execution of with our height of where our pitches are located, I think, is a huge one. Yesterday, I thought we made a few too many mistakes, leaving baseballs elevated in the strike zone. Borlesti is an awesome place to play, but if the wind's going to blow out to left and it's warm out and the ball flies a lot, and so putting baseballs in a spot where it's easy to elevate a pitch on the pull side is a dangerous game to play as a pitching staff. And so trying to do a little bit better job of that, as well as trying to keep them a little more off balance. We haven't done as good a job on the pitching side of making them respect multiple pitches. I think a lot of times they're getting to a point where they can kind of sit on one fastball or they can sit on one certain pitch, and as long as they're on time, they're able to do damage. So I'm hoping that Sam can do a good job of making that adjustment, of being a little bit better with his execution, keeping the ball low, keeping the ball away from hitters, and mixing up their timing.
Obviously, that's a part of the job of the pitcher or catcher, but do you tell them going into the game kind of how you want them to call it?
Yeah, we try to have a little bit of insight for them. I think a big part of this is a personal philosophy thing, but I think a big part of the summer is trying to help pitchers and catchers understand how to call a game and how to use what their strengths are and how to, that's kind of a development piece that we're trying to hope, we're hoping that the guys can look back on and feel like they improved at because of their time here in Walla Walla. And so, we do some conversation about, hey, this is maybe how we want to attack a certain guy, or, hey, we need to make sure we force them to respect multiple pitches. And, sometimes it goes and, the adjustment is there, and other times it's not. And, that's just baseball and pitching especially. And so, we're having some conversations, but a lot of times too, it's, me trying to guide and provide input where, appropriate, but also allowing the pitcher and the catcher to work together and try to kind of feed off one another.
When you flip the script, talk offensively, there's been a few long balls for you guys as well, but when you mentioned the wind's blowing to the left, out towards a short left center field here at Borleski, do you tell your guys, let's try to see pitches elevated up in the zone and try to hit them out to left?
I don't think we don't necessarily try to change our approach. Home runs are truly like a kind of a happy accident. It's something that if we do a good job with our rhythm and being on time and getting the barrel out where we want it to, then good things tend to happen. So it's not something that we're necessarily trying to change our swings or change our approaches to try to hit home runs. But, if we have a good approach with what we're trying to do and the guys can execute on that, we're going to definitely hit our fair share.
Marion Barry's been, taking this first two games. What's your assessment of them through 5?
I think they're doing a good job of making us pay. I thought they swung the bats extremely well yesterday. I think we are similar teams. It seemed like yesterday it was impossible to get them out. As didn't matter if we got to 0-2. If we made one mistake, it seemed like they made us pay, and the ball was hit on a line, and it was a base hit, right? And and they didn't chase. They didn't chase our pitch. They didn't make a lot of weak contact, consecutively, and so I think that's something that they've shown a lot of discipline in. I think that's something that we can continue to improve upon as our the discipline as far as our execution goes on the mound. I would also say just our execution at the plate of not making easy outs early in counts and trying to make pitchers work a little bit. We haven't made a lot of productive or difficult outs, when the game is close so far. And so hoping to see that as an adjustment that gets made today and then hopefully carries over the 9 games to follow.
Forget the first half of the game, even the first couple innings. How big is that very first frame in today's ball game?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, coming off of 2 in a row, there really hasn't been a tone setter for us, and that's something that we want. And so, hopefully it's going to come out today. We need to try to flip the momentum here early in this game by getting a 0, by limiting what they're able to do on the offensive end in the top of the first, and then on our own offensive side, we need to go out there and put pressure on them, I think, from inning number 1. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be runs, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to put up a big number. Yeah, we hope that that's what happens, but I think if we can make it where, hey, their pitcher has to labor, their defense feels like there's pressure put on them in the first inning, it kind of puts them back on their heels a little bit, which hopefully, evens the playing field going into Game 3.
If you had to describe today's game in just a couple of words, what would you say, Coach?
I think I'd start by it's a new day. I think it's obviously pivotal. I think it's a chance to build momentum, and I think it's still one game in the grand scheme of a much larger picture. So we're gonna come out and do what we can today over 9 innings, and then we'll go win or loss. We'll move on to the next one and get ready for the road trip.
Sweets half game back on the Marion Berries, 1.5 back on the Elks. The Springfield Drifters catching up as well, a 1.5 back on the Walla Walla Sweets. Coach, tomorrow off day, how big is that to rest up 9 days straight to end the season?
Yeah, last off day of the year, and so it's going to be really important the guys get off their feet and get a mental reset, a bit of a physical reset, and then we'll hit the road and get going. So it's definitely huge. It's coming at the right time. We need to make the most of it and then leave it all out there over the last 9.
This late in the season, on those off days, is it maybe let's just not touch a baseball today? Let's go out and do other things.
Yeah, I think you're reading our mind a little bit. I think it will probably be. It sounds counterintuitive, but after the last week at home here and with where we're going to be at, player-wise as we head on the road, it probably is going to be a bit of a, hey, get away from the field for 24 hours, enjoy the day, rest up, sleep in, go to the gym. Yeah, right? Like, those are all things that are going to be harder to find over the next few days. So, try to use tomorrow to our advantage and then go from there.
All right, this leads us to our question of the day with manager of the Walla Walla Sweets, Colby Watilo. Coach, I've actually gotten a recommendation from one of your players.
Okay.
Question of the day.
Oh, man.
If you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? And what player told me to ask this question? Start with whatever one you want to go with.
What player told you to ask this question?
Kind of surprising guy, but, I've seen him come out of his shell the last few days. A late addition who was earlier on the team.
A late addition?
Who was earlier on the team.
Oh, Chatone.
Not Chacon.
Okay. Oh, Shafe.
Schaefer.
Yeah.
He came up to me and was like, what's the question of the day? I said, what do you got for me? And there it is. So what kind of food are you eating for the rest of the day? Dave Portnoy, he eats pizza every day.
Not that.
Not that?
Not pizza. I do like pizza.
Yeah,
but that's a lot. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna like. This doesn't really align with what we just talked about with pizza, but I would probably say like Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Okay. Nice. So it's still a little greasy.
Yeah.
But like a salad.
Sure.
Yeah. Or Chick-fil-A sandwiches. What in particular?
A spicy chicken sandwich. Yeah. Chick-fil-A sauce.
Chick-fil-A sauce, pickles.
Yeah.
Lunch.
There's vegetable on there.
Some salad. Dinner.
Yeah.
Breakfast. That's it.
Yeah, well, you can do the chicken biscuits that they do for breakfast at Chick-fil-A. So if I can broaden it, if I could broaden it to Chick-fil-A, then we have salads involved and stuff. So now it's automatic.
How about drink other than water? One for the rest of your life.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe I think I've said this. I think this was part of my. Remember when we did the drinks out of your fingertips? Yeah, I think. I would say
pinky, which is
I know crazy. I would say maybe like Arnold Palmer or something, like kind of a tea lemonade situation.
We've been out, and I've never seen you order an Arnold.
Really?
No.
Oh,
you gotta have it done at some point.
I guess so. Well, yeah.
Arnold Palmers are solid.
We've got 6 games coming up on the road, so I'll order an Arnold Palmer for you.
You're a big golf guy. Have you been to those golf courses where they have the Arnold Palmer machines?
I have. I've been to one. Yeah, I've been to one course that had fountain Arnold Palmer on the course.
Wow.
So,
I go to sleep
thinking about
that.
Yeah. Waverly Country Club.
Where's that?
Portland.
Shout out Portland Waverly Country Club. The Sweets, big game today against the Marion Berries. Game number 3, trying to even up the series and take the tiebreaker, most likely barring a Berries sweep over the Pickles at the start of July. Once again, manager of the Walla Walla Sweets, Colby Watilo, for another edition of Countdown with Colby. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Go Sweets.